Good morning, Patriots. How are y'all today? I hope you're having a great weekend. It is Saturday. Some Saturdays in the summertime, I'll not be able to go live, and some I will. It just depends on my schedule. You know, we're getting into auction season where I get to go treasure hunting. I love treasure hunting. Love, love, love. So, let's see. It is 8:29 a.m. on 3/13/2021. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday morning. A little drizzly and rainy here in central Missouri, but that's good this time of year. Hope you have a nice steaming hot cup of coffee. I haven't had any yet. This is the first sip. Shame on me. Just getting going. Saturdays, I'm a little slower about getting around and getting started. Don't have a whole lot loaded up and ready to go. I hope this is the first test of the new internet. I also have new hardware coming, which will make a big difference, I believe. We're going to do a few other things. I've got looking into some new templates and all kinds of stuff that we can do now that we're freed up. I loaded my video from yesterday up to Rumble. Usually I start loading that video about 10 or 11 in the morning, and when I leave at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, it's still loading. That's how terrible it was. It loaded that video in 10 minutes up onto Rumble. So I can almost instantly load these videos, which is really cool, in my opinion. That's awesome. So the computer I'm using here is still a little bit old, but that's okay. I've got new stuff coming. I'm going to need two computers so that I can do video on one and live stream on the other. The problem is, if you have a fast enough computer, you can do both on the same computer, but you've got to have the way the screen works. It's like, for a dyslexic guy, it just ain't working. But you have a separate computer, you can have it separated, and it's a lot better. Also gives you more control and gives you a few other options that you can do. You can drop things in and out. It's the kind of stuff that we were doing actually with Chris. Was like, my wife was actually running the stuff. But it's all inside information. I'm learning as I go, by the way. I am nowhere near an expert. If you'd seen my studio, you'd probably laugh. But, you know, being that I'm an auction guy, I picked up a bunch of higher-end lighting at an auction somewhere for $25. I thought, stolen. So that's where I get my lighting from. Without that nice lighting, I wouldn't be able to do a green screen. You got to have plenty of light for that. And then I use a software program that allows me, that it's all done in the cloud, so that I don't have to have a super high fast computer. I just have to have a decent computer. Anyways, glad you're all jumping on. This is Mike Cook, the Patriot, coming to you live from central Missouri. I hope everything is great. A lot of things happening. Been gathering a lot of information. We're on the precipice, folks. I really do believe that. You know, of course, I thought, you know, look, you can't set dates on any of this stuff. It's not dates, it's timeline. It's not dates, it's events that you have to be concerned about. And if you take a look, you follow the prophecies of like Kim Clement, and that's like my go-to right now, because he makes a prediction. He predicts an impeachment of Donald Trump. We got that. He predicts that there's going to be a new kind of warfare, nation itching for new kind of warfare. And as the flag behind me indicates that nation in my mind, but I think that may be wrong, that it may be other nations also. But I digress. It's a information warfare. It's a computer warfare. It's a cyber attack. It's all this stuff happening that, it's kind of bothering me, that caused us to lose this election. It's the coronavirus, all that stuff. And then it said that he would set his David aside for a time. He said that he would be a man with hot blood. I had to look up hot blood. What does that mean? That means a man of confidence, a man of strength is what that meant. That's pretty much Donald Trump. He's got the hottest blood around, right? I mean, there's not a more confident, more but also says a humble man, and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, that doesn't. But I guess if you talk to people in private, see, Donald Trump puts on a show of confidence. But in private, when he's dealing with individuals one-on-one, he's very humble. You see that all the time. And then said he's going to set his David aside. And then he said, impeach again. Impeach, but no. There's impeach, but nay. Then there's impeach, but no. And that's where we are right now. And then there's three prophecies dealing with this time that I know of that Kim Clement did. There's that one that gives a timeline. That's number one. We'll call that prophecy number one. Prophecy number two gives seasons. It talks about the winter. It talks about joy in the spring. And we're all waiting for that. We're all like, yes, we're all jumping a bit. We want joy. We want joy. Sin does joy, right? But when you take a prophecy, you have to take it in its entirety. Because it also talks about a hot summer. He says, July, oh July. He says summer's got to do what summer does so that people can fall in the fall. And it talks about a hypnotic November and victory in December. Now, what does that all mean? I have no idea. The third prophecy of this time talks about two presidents. It says, what an odd thing. How could there be two presidents? That's interesting. Especially, we're at the time with two presidents. We got Donald Trump, Donald Mar. I don't think we're there yet, though. I don't think we've really come into the time of two presidents. I think we're about to. I think that's going to be part of the joy in the spring thing and part of the hot summer. You see, because that first prophetic timeline or prophetic vision that sets the order of events, because everything has happened in order thus far, I assume the rest will too. The next step in this parade is that there'll be, now I may be getting the words a little bit wrong, so go read it yourself or watch the video yourself. There'll be fear, or another word like fear, for the Democrats, and the Republicans will be shaken when a new Snowden arises. And everybody's sending me messages. Who's the new Snowden? Who's the new Snowden? Well, I'm not a prophet. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a preacher. But my gut tells me that it isn't a who. It's a what and a when. I don't think that it's going to be an individual. Now, I may be completely wrong and surprised, and I'll be happy to be surprised. But I'm of the opinion that this is going to be, see, with Snowden, it wasn't so much that Snowden was the problem. It was that it was the information Snowden. That's what everybody was upset about. If Snowden didn't have the information, nobody would even care that the guy even exists on this planet. I was watching some stuff. He leaked a lot of information. I mean, we wouldn't have known about Hillary's emails. We wouldn't have known about the NSA spying, and we wouldn't have known about a bunch of stuff from Verizon and AT&T, how they were getting the metadata. We wouldn't have known any of that if it wasn't for Snowden. So a new Snowden arises, I believe, is going to be a massive amount of information that's going to cause much fear of the Democrats, and the Republicans will be shaken. That's what it's going to cause. I think it's going to cause a lot of problems for our government. Then the next thing he says after that is really kind of got me thinking. It says that there'll be much fear. Something along that lines. And then it says, they will say we have no protection. I was listening to Mark Taylor here a while back, and he made an offhanded comment that the United States has been operating under this corporation thing since the 1800s, right? You all heard that. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. Conspiracy theory time. Yeah, well, it's only a conspiracy theory. If those stopped conspiring, we'd stop having theories. So anyways, He was making an offhanded comment about the corporation. The corporations are designed to protect people. And if you think about it, let me give you an example. If I owned a widget company and I'm publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and you, my friend, you right there, yeah, you're my friend, and you own 1,000 shares at $10 a share, so it's $10,000 of Mike the Patriot Widget Manufacturing Company, okay? And I call you up on the phone and I say, dude, right now, go sell those shares. You say, why? He said, just sell them. So you go sell your shares. And then Monday, we find out that the CFO has been embezzling millions and millions of dollars from me and sold all my patents to the Chinese. And my company is now collapsing. That would be insider trading, and you'd find out what it was like to go to prison, just like Martha Stewart. But on the other hand, if I was testifying before a committee in Congress, and I said to him, look, the CFO is, they embezzled all my money and sold all my patents to the Red Chinese, and my company's now defunct. And Joe Blow from Idaho, congressman, sells his 10,000 shares at $10 a piece in my company over the weekend before it collapses on Monday, which is exactly what you did as my friend because I tipped you off, because he was tipped off, but he was tipped off in a committee hearing. Well, that's legal. That's legal because they protected themselves under their own rules that they write for themselves. Rules for thee, but not for me. But what happens if all those rules suddenly went away because those rules were created under a system that's no longer viable? Say a defunct corporation. The United States, not these United States. Well, then they would have no protection. There would be nothing keeping them safe from some of the things that they've been doing, that they've created protections for themselves. Now, that part right there was entirely out of my own mind. You take that for whatever it's worth, which is not much. But those are thoughts that are going through my mind as I read that. Some are right in there too. In the Kim Clement prophecy, it says, America will be humbled and yet some more. And then he says, am I impressed with your weapons of war? Let's follow the timeline. Am I impressed with your strong men's legs? What does that mean? Well, it says that summer will be hot. Is that like temperature-wise? Or is that something else? Is that a hot war? Am I impressed with your weapons of war? I don't know. I'm just putting things together. Come on here. I wasn't even going to talk about that, but that's what I'm talking about. There's a whole lot happening. These are not the droids you're looking for. Anyways, there's a whole lot happening. Little things that I notice in the media, like, for example, Governor Cuomo is in big trouble. Despite growing calls of investigation over multiple swirling scandals, New York Governor Cuomo is still refusing to step down. He's even lost Shifty Shift, Adam Schiff. I mean, Adam Schiff knows a liar when he sees one, let me tell you. I don't think that guy's ever said the truth in his life. And he's got them eyeballs. But Governor Cuomo is probably going to resign over these allegations that he was naughty with a bunch of people. And there's now, it's like 2 or 3 more added every day. I don't know how many are. Washington Post has said, or Washington Post and New York Post, one of the posts have said that they have over 30 witnesses now coming forward. So he's a prevert, and he likes to, I don't know how a guy like that has the bravado, is that the word I'm looking for, to treat women like that, because I just can't. I can't. I just can't. I can't talk to somebody else's wife, sister, daughter, mother the way he's been accused. I just can't do it. I don't understand how someone can do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. But he's in trouble, and the reason he's going to step down and he's going to go away, it's time for you to retire, go away, you've had your shot, it's over, maybe in 10 years you can come back. That's their thinking. It's because the bigger scandal is the nursing home scandal, where thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people died needlessly because of this virus, whether it was man-made or not, because he put infected people in confined locations in nursing homes. And that's not the scandal. The scandal is that it happened in several other states and it was orchestrated. And who orchestrated it? That's the scandal right there. Whose orders was he following? So we got to destroy him because he's been connected to this, and media is completely ignoring the other 5 or 6 governors. We've got to destroy him and get him out of the way, and we're going to do it with a sexual scandal because everybody thinks that's why he's resigning. But that's not it. That's the look over here, not over there, because they don't want us looking into why all those people died. Meanwhile, while all that's going on, you're all distracted by that, and the media can't get enough of that because that's sexual stuff. Ooh, and he's all a bunch of perverts anyways. We all know that, Epstein. We got people like this. Anania Presley, Congresswoman Presley, pushes for cancellation of all rent and mortgage payments for 12 months. Yes, let's just destroy the economy while we're at it. It's down, so let's stomp it into the ground. Well, yeah, but it'd be great if I don't have to pay my rent or my mortgage. You're right, but how does the bank make money? How does your landlord make money to pay his bills and everything else? Well, he won't have to pay. That's not the way it works, dude. You think the government's still going to not want their taxes? You can't just stop. Look, change is coming, whether you like it or not. What causes a fiat currency to crash is the stop of the velocity of money. And if you stop the rent, you put a moratorium on the rent, you put a moratorium on the mortgages, you're freezing a massive amount of money. Just stop like that. You got to keep that money turning. I heard one time that more money comes into Walmart in the United States a day than exists. Like several times more. Like there's only so much money exists. Of course, we're printing it like there's no tomorrow, so there's a lot more existing now. And that's why the price of everything's going up. They said that lumber's gone up like 148% over the last couple of years and expected to go up another 30% before spring. But it isn't that lumber is more valuable. It's that the dollar is worth less or just plain worthless. Because we printed so many. Every time you print a dollar bill, so if you have $1 bill and you print another, you don't have $2 in spending power. You actually still have the same amount. You just split it up, and that's what they're doing. In a fiat currency, that's the way it works. And if you don't have that money moving, constantly moving in the economy, and for some reason you put brakes on part of it, especially in big chunks, you have a problem. But Walmart takes in more money, by multiples, like 1, 2, 3, 4 times than exists. How's that happen? Well, the velocity of money. You see, you get paid from your boss and you go over to Walmart and you buy some trinkets from Walmart that were made in China. And then Walmart goes out and pays the guy who they got the trinkets from, right? Who orders the product that your manufacturer is making, who then pays you, and then you go to Walmart, buy some more trinkets. Now, this is simplified, by the way, and it just keeps going around in a big circle. Well, that's how they figure it happens. is it just keeps going around and around and around, and also credit and other stuff like that. But it's very simplified, but that's what the philosophy of money is the money just keeps coming back in. The same dollar is spent more than one time. It just keeps revolving a big circle. And if you don't have that happening, especially in a fiat currency, you have a problem. There's a problem there. People stop spending. We can't have that. And here she is wanting to force it upon us. People want to bring down. There is change coming. Change is going to happen, whether you like it or not. We are going to have the Great Reset. It will happen. It is inevitable. The world fiat currency systems cannot last. It is impossible for a fiat currency to last. It is impossible. It has to reset. The question is, how does it reset? And that's what the war is about right now. The Cold War, the silent war, the invisible war that Donald Trump's been fighting. When he talks about the coronavirus, remember, with Donald Trump and his people, everything has meaning more than one way. So I'm going to put this next slide up here, and I'm going to leave it here for a minute or two without commentary because of the subject matter. This video would probably be taken down if I talked about it. So get your cameras ready, or go back later on when you watch this on the rerun, and make sure you get a screenshot of this and read it for yourself. But here goes. Just going to leave this up here. I don't need to read it to you. You can read it for yourself. If you're looking for a copy of it, it's posted on my Telegraph page, and if it isn't, it will be shortly. I cannot share this onto Facebook. It's just some questions. Some questions that probably ought to be asked. And I'm just going to leave it up here, and I'm not going to talk about it. Let you all decide what you want to do with that information. All right, now moving on. There's one more piece of information, one more story caught my attention this morning that I wanted to share with y'all that I just found. You know, the stupid criminal segment right here. Texas man borrows BMW from dealership, robs bank, then returns to buy the car with the stolen money. I'm not going to get into the whole article. But if you're going to rob a bank, I mean, it's actually not a bad idea. You go get the car, you take it for a test drive, you rob the bank, you bring the car back, you jump in your getaway vehicle, and you drive away. But don't you think maybe they got a description of the car you left in, especially if it's a BM freaking W? And then you come back and you buy said car with the bank's money? When you buy the car, you got to fill out the paperwork. Now they know everything there is to know about you. That one wasn't well thought through. I'm just saying, you got to love that one. I just threw that in there for some comic relief. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And there's this. Faith is more powerful than government, and nothing is more powerful than God. Donald Trump. President. 2 presidents. 2 presidents. What does that mean? What's going to happen? How is this all going to work? I don't know. But Mike, nothing. There's nothing they can do. They can't do anything. There's nothing they can do. You're right. You know, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you probably can't. Donald Trump has never been the one to, number 1, give up. Number 2, quit. Number 3, believe he can't do something. He finds a way. The question is, How long will it take? And are you prepared? Are you prepared to do whatever it takes? Well, what do you mean, Mike? You'll have joy in the spring, but you're going to have a hot summer, and the fall doesn't come till the fall. Am I impressed with your weapons of war? Am I impressed with your strong men's legs? Those things echo in my mind, and that timeline is later than today. The next step is the Snowden. Well, I mean, there's a whole lot going on. Did you all watch and look, I don't recommend watching it, but did y'all see the South Park episode? I mean, talk about waking people up. Now, they made fun of it. Talk about waking people up. Did you all see the Richard Citizen journalist where he was standing there outside the White House in a hotel room where he can just about see the Oval Office and the Rose Garden and stuff where the helicopter lands and everything? When they were having their big press conference yesterday, but nobody was there. Did you see that? That's weird, huh? I mean, I don't know. It's just weird. And then there's this one. Come back already, for the love of God. What do you think I should do? Oh, what do you think, folks? Should I do it? Yes, do it. Pull the trigger. Let's go right now. Let's go. You know, got some stuff to take care of. You coming? There's a gold-bladed M60 machine gun. Oh, I love the M60. You ever shot an M60? Tell you, that's a pleasurable experience. I would sign back up in the Army if I could shoot the M60 again. They don't have them for some reason. They've moved on to better guns, but there's something about rocking and rolling with that old sucker right there. And that one's gold-plated, so I'm just saying. Say hello to my little friend. Yes, I would do that. I would sign back up to that was good times. Rocking and rolling, a few belts of those is good times. I think that we are in the midst of the storm. We are in the midst of the show. That was the one I was trying to reload, and I forgot to reload it, and it didn't load. I'll just read it to you. I was loading up my stuff today, and I deleted something on accident, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and now I just remembered. This is from Ghost Ezra, and I believe I shared this on my Telegraph page. It says, everyone is worn out simply because they're trying to direct the movie. You feel like, it just ain't going your way. You feel like, man, I just wish it would do it this way. I wish they'd do it that way. I wish this would happen. I wish that would happen. He says, skip the jab, grab the popcorn, and enjoy the show. This is a movie. They keep saying. So it's orchestrated. It's planned. It has a script. Things have to happen in the order that they have to happen. Everybody's putting your timeline on it. Everybody's saying it's going to be this day. It's going to be that day. It's going to be the 20th. It's going to be whenever it is. I don't know. Spring is the end of March to the middle of June. I mean, Barack Obama said that if we all do what we're supposed to do, get in line, put on our masks, get our shots, then maybe, just maybe, they'll give us permission to celebrate our independence on Independence Day. We can celebrate the freedom that they're granting us. Isn't that wonderful? And why can they grant us our freedoms? Because they don't believe in God. It's simple. God gave us our rights. We were endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And among these means everything else. But if there's no God, then there are no rights. Who grants them? Joe Biden, of course. Kamala Harris. Barack Hussein Obama. The Queen of England. Who grants them? Where do your rights come from? That's how they can pass a bill that says you can't own a gun. Sign an executive order that says you can't own a gun. The courts don't say anything. What you going to do about it? I'd hate to be the sucker that goes around and collects them. That'd be a job I wouldn't want to sign up for. No, I don't think it's going to get that far. I don't think that any of these things that are happening right now, we have no protection. Any of these rules they're making are going to amount to a hill of beans. I think it's coming. It's coming sooner rather than later. I know. You all watching my buddy Brad, and he's saying that stuff can happen like tomorrow, the next day. Maybe. I don't know. For all I know, it could be next year, God forbid. We got our timeline all screwed up. So what do I do every day? I get up, I flip on the news, I watch for the news to say a massive amount of information, a new Snowden or somebody or something. I'm looking for something to blow up the narrative with a massive amount of information that will follow out and will flow, will change everything, will expose, will cause the Democrats to have much fear and the Republicans to be shaken. Somebody, I just switched over to the comments. People are asking Brad who, and people, I can't say his whole name. I mean, like, they're totally censoring that guy. I mean, all over the place, they're shutting him down. So my censoring started when I tried to do an interview of him. Anyways, somebody says they stopped watching because he just says the same thing over and over. It's because we're in a holding pattern right now. We're waiting for the next shoe to drop, which I don't know what that's going to be other than what I'm telling you, the timeline, the prophetic timeline. I trust in the prophetic. I trust in God. I don't know about the other stuff. I don't have any inside sources. Now, do I have sources? Of course I do. I reach out. I feel around. I talk to some friends. You know, I know somebody actually works on the East Coast. We'll just say that. I don't want to say any more than that because I don't want to get this person in trouble. And I've reached out to him a couple times. I know former sharp end of the spear guys who played around. You know, they were sharp end of the spear is all I'm going to say, in different branches of the military. And I've reached out to them and say, hey, any of your buddies saying anything? Yeah, I know you know some people that are still, sharp ends. And they, I've gotten some information, some interesting stuff. And, get loose lips, sink ships. So I'll just say that from what I can tell, things are happening behind the scenes that nobody knows about in the darkness. If you watch my video yesterday, I talked about Gideon. And I talked about how when he took down the altars and he made a new altar and sacrificed the cow to the Lord, they did it at night when no one was watching. And that's kind of where we are now. It's kind of where we are now. Things are happening when no one's watching. And of course, the media is not going to cover it because they're in on it. We have to destroy them. We have to destroy the whole system of things. That's up to God. That goes back to as I've talked about many times, that goes back to the Red Sea moment, when God destroys the world order of things. Let me remind you of that before I get off here, because I know I'm going a little bit long. The world order of things. This is important to understand how God works. At the Red Sea, he not only rescued the Israelites from the Egyptians as they crossed over. Woo! No, there was a whole lot more to that. You see, because prior to that, 4 years prior to that, Joseph, he had the dreams and the Pharaoh, and he said there's going to be plenty of famine. There's going to be 7 years of famine and 7 years of feast. We got to save up during the feast for the famine, right? And the Pharaoh said, that's a great idea. We need to put somebody in charge, and I think it's you. Puts him in charge. He says, all right. So they start saving all this stuff up, and they put it all away, right? Well, the people came to him when the famine started, and they said, here's our money. Give us food. And they gave him all their money. And they said, we don't have any money, so take our land. So they gave them all their lands. And they said, we don't have any land anymore, so here's our cattle and our sheep and our donkeys and our livestock. And they gave them all that. And they came back and said, we don't have any money, we don't have any land, we don't have any livestock, we don't have any crops, we don't have anything, but we're starving. We'll give you ourselves. We'll become slaves to Pharaoh. And this just wasn't Egypt. This was the whole world at the time. This famine was vast. And they sold themselves for food. Pharaoh owned everything. So 400 years later, Pharaoh is the ultimate power. He owns everything. Everybody serves Pharaoh, not just in Egypt, but in Canaan and in Arabia and in the East and all around the known world at the time. They served Pharaoh. It was his kingdom. But when Moses led the Israelites out and they got to the Red Sea, that's where we are right now. We're hemmed in at the Red Sea, and the Pharaoh's army, largest army in the world, they had chariots and all kinds. They're running down on them, and the dust is rising, and you could see them coming from miles away. It's like the old country song that says that that is old. I can't remember who sang it, but his girlfriend out in West Texas left him, and he knew that she was going to leave. He just didn't know it was going to take all day because he could see her driving for miles and miles and miles from the dust. That's the same way it was with Pharaoh. You could see the dust coming. They knew it was coming, and they ain't got no place to go. They're hemmed in by the ocean. They're surrounded. They're cut off. They're trapped. And they looked at Moses and said, why couldn't you let us die in Egypt? At least we'd have something to eat, and we wouldn't have Pharaoh trying to kill us and wipe us off the planet. Isn't that where we are right now? Isn't that where we are right now? Don't you think? That maybe you're feeling hemmed in, closed in, surrounded. There's no way out, no escape. There's nothing that can happen that can change all this. It's over. It's done. We've lost. Is that kind of how you feel right now? See, but God said, no. First of all, the pillar of fire, that was a pillar of fire and a pillar of smoke during the day, fire during the night. It moved to behind the Israelites. So God stood between the Israelites and the Egyptians, and he caused a fog and an interference and darkness so that they couldn't quite get to them. Then he said to Moses, it's time. Go over there and part them seas. And the water parted, and they walked across on dry land. I know, I watched the thing on the Discovery Channel the other day. So it was the wind that was blowing, and it wasn't that deep. And blah, blah, blah. No, it said dry land. It said the water parted and bubbled up, and they walked on dry land. That's what it said. I didn't say it. I'm just reading it. And when all Israel got to the other side, Pharaoh said, we can go get them. And they went right down into it in a blind rage. And that wasn't just Pharaoh. It was all of his entire army. And who leads his army? His entire family. We're all generals and leaders of this government. And they ran off into the ocean. Or into the Red Sea as it parted. And God caused the water to collapse down on them, and there was no escape. The entire government of Egypt ceased to exist. Just like that. See? Just like that. It was over. And the whole world order of things changed. No longer was Canaan and all of Africa and of the Mideast were under the rule of Pharaoh, because Pharaoh was gone. There was now a power vacuum that changed history. Think about that. We were at the Red Sea moment, and God said, he promised, he said through his prophets, through Kim Clement, through Mark Taylor, through Robin Bullock, through Hank, help me out. You guys know who I'm talking about. And several others. I started this prophetic journey, and I'm not a prophet. I'm not a prophet. I am not a prophet. I'm a reporter. I'm a citizen journalist, just like Richard. He's got his gig, I got mine. I started this in 2015, right after Trump came down the escalator. I'd never heard of Kim Clement. I'd never heard of Mark Taylor or Robin Bullock or any of these other guys. I'd never even considered most that mumbo jumbo, just that mumbo jumbo. I grew up in an evangelical church. I knew what prophecy was. I knew what speaking in tongues really was supposed to be. I could tell you a story about that that'll set your hair on fire, but I won't get into that right now. Maybe some other time y'all can ask me about it. But I remember, and I'm sorry I'm going long, but this is on my mind, so I'm going to talk about it. I got time. It'll be all right if you don't mind hanging out. I remember Donald Trump just come down the escalator. I was a Ted Cruz guy, and Ted Cruz pisses me off sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, buddy. Just want to knock it off. Straighten yourself out. But I was a Ted Cruz guy. I was like, that's the guy. Then there's Donald Trump. And I like Donald Trump. I've read his book. I've seen him speak years ago at an Amway convention, no less. I like Donald Trump. But I was flipping through the internet, watching YouTubes or whatever I was doing. I don't even know how I stumbled onto this guy, but there was this preacher from Florida. And he said, God spoke to me last night. He said, I was praying about this. Like, we can't have Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton cannot be president. I was like, Lord, we can't have Hillary Clinton. And God spoke to me. And this is what he said. Now, I'm doing this from memory. I'm dyslexic. Get over it. Okay. So this is what this preacher said. He said, God said to me that Donald Trump would be a trumpet to trumpet the evil in this government. I said, whoa. That's interesting. And so I took that information and I put it over here in my interesting pile. That's what Telegraph is now, by the way. It's my interesting pile. And I put that over here. And this was, just in my brain at this time. Took that information. I just said, Then I'm looking around. Never been able to find that video since then either. Probably been taken down. And there was this preacher in Texas, and he said, I was praying about this election, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Donald Trump's going to be president, but God told me that he was going to use Donald Trump, and he was going to change America, and that Trump would be a trumpet to trumpet the evil in his government. And both preachers also said this in the vein of Cyrus. They both said Cyrus. They both said trumpet. I said, well, that's even more interesting. Let's throw that in this pile. Now, mind you, Donald Trump is not even in the lead yet. And people are going, Donald Trump will never be president. Ah, ha, ha. It's so funny. Ah, ha, ha. The media was wrong. Everybody was wrong. That's because God's not wrong. God's in control of all this. Then there was another preacher in the Northeast. I didn't know they had churches in the Northeast anymore, but evidently they do. And he said the same thing in the vein of Cyrus, a trumpet, that God's gonna use Trump to trumpet the evil that is in this government. Has he not? Have we not been our eyes opened, our minds opened to all of the evil that's going on around us? Have we not seen who the sellouts, the traitors, the liars, the cheaters? Have we not seen them? Not just Democrats, by the way. I'd say 2/3 of the Republican Party, or if not more. Have we not seen it? So that got me on this journey of going, okay, that's 3. Interesting. Let's see what else I can find. So I started searching. I stumbled on the Mark Taylor, because when I searched prophecies about Donald Trump, well, of course, he wrote a book called Trump Prophecies. So that came up all over the place. So I started following him. And somehow I stumbled on to Kim Clement. I don't even know how. And I was like, whoa, well, this is fire right here. And then I stumbled on some of the other guys, stumbled on some of the other preachers, some of the other prophets. And they were all saying the exact same thing. I'm like, man, I can't remember any time in my life where different denominations, different religious backgrounds, different groups of people in Christendom agreed about anything. They can't even agree about the color of the drapes. Should we have pews or chairs? I mean, churches split over that kind of stuff. Here they are prophetically agreeing, saying the exact same words. Oh, I'm sure some of them are not legit and copying the others, but that's irrelevant. Kim Clement said his stuff in 2007. Mark Taylor said some of his stuff in 2014. I mean, 2007, who'd have thought Donald Trump would have been president in 2007? Evidently Kim Clement. And I started going, holy cow. What in the world is going on with all of this? This is insane. This is nuts. I don't get it. And then, of course, everything that happened. And I read the prophecies and I listened to the prophecies, especially Kim Clement. I started really getting into it. And I really picked out the good parts. Didn't you do the same thing? Didn't you just pick out the good parts? My David, the man I have chosen. You know, the parts where he talks about economics coming back to the United States, and that he would give what the evil is stolen, he'd give back to the United States, and the United States would reap its reward. Those are all good. I like that, but I skipped over the other parts, the parts where we're at right now. But I gotta humble you, and yet some more parts. I don't want to be humbled by God. Do you want to? I mean, that's not good. That's not fun. The fun parts are the winning. The fun parts is when Donald Trump, 100% chance the day before Hillary Clinton wins. There's no way Donald Trump be president. And then that night, watching the media go, as it happened before their eyes. How are they 100% sure? Dominion. Hello. But it didn't work out for them. And then we watch everything that happened. We watched the whole apparatus, the whole entire apparatus of government and media and Hollywood and deep state and religion. I mean, I got all these people telling me, I can't vote for Donald Trump. I'm a Republican and Donald Trump's not a conservative Christian. Yeah, well, how well's the conservative Christians been doing for you, huh? Mike Pence. Let me tell you, government's been exposed. Democrats have been exposed. The Republican Party's been exposed. The media is a facade. Fox News sold us out. Nobody's watching that rag anymore. None of the newspapers are legit. There's a few online and the little guys like me, like Brad, like somebody got to put a list on here. X22, Monkeyworks, Scott McKay, all these people, John O'Sullivan, even Santa Surfer. There's get on the Rumble. There's some on the Telegraph. There's some on there. You can follow them. Yeah, you can find links to them because I share a lot of their stuff on my Telegraph. But they even say, I mean, that's where you get your news now. Oh, I don't know. Somebody commented on here. I'm going to add. I got to answer this one. Barton McKay only wants donations. McKay wants 20 million people to buy his gear. Now Barton is taking donations while he sits in a $750,000 house and a 7 square foot private gym. Let me tell you something. Brad Barton does not need your money. I was in the same business Brad Barton's in. And he don't need your money. I promise you, he's okay. If you don't want to, I mean, he's okay. Trust me on that. He's fine. He doesn't need your money. He's doing just fine. As a matter of fact, I bet he's doing better than fine. Anyways, I digress. I just had to answer that one. Most of us aren't making a dime doing this. I have spent money, but I haven't made any. So the government's corrupt. We got that. The Democrats, the Republicans, the media, the Hollywood, we all know they're corrupt. We find out that the NSA, the CIA, the FBI, and the rest of the alphabets, they're all corrupt too. All of it. Corrupt. In bed with each other. They're all corrupt. There's another shoe left to drop. And everyone's like, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Let me tell you something. In my spirit, I believe that other shoe is going to drop first. New snow rises. Look for everything that's happening in all these other places that happen in the religious world. And I don't mean the Catholic Church. I mean the American Protestant evangelical religious. That's what I mean. The religious industrial complex. That's what I mean. And no, I know everyone of you has a poster boy for corrupt religion. I know what you're thinking right now, what's his name down there in Houston? I'm not talking about him. Nope. I'm talking about some of your favorites. That's what I'm talking about. Names that if I named right now, and I'm not going to, because I'm not 100% sure, you'd be like, no. I'm not saying that they're going to hell. I'm not saying that they're not doing the Lord's work. I'm saying they're bought and paid for by the deep state. Hello. You ever wonder why some of these church organizations are pushing to get the vaccine? Why would they be doing that? Are pushing that we need to accept things the way they are, that we need to get away from these conspiracy theories, that we need to forget about it and all join hands and sing Kumbaya with the current administration, even though the current administration just signed a bill to make sure that we fund abortions around the world? Prominent, very, 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 very prominent preacher. We all need to come together, hold hands. I'll get Donald Trump and Joe Biden and their wives together in the White House. How could you sit down and have dinner with evil? What did John the Baptist do when he was before the king? Called him out for sleeping with his brother's wife. That's what he did. Lost his head over it. I know you live in some nice houses and you got some nice things. You got a lot to sacrifice. You don't want to lose your head over it. Hey, we're on this planet a very short time, and eternity is an awful long time. And I want to be able to stand before the Lord and have him say, well done, good and faithful servant, enter into joy today. That's what I want. I don't give a rip about the rest of it. Yeah, 60 million babies have been murdered. What about all the ones off the books? That's another story for another day. Tell you what, I've been on here awfully long. I'm on almost an hour. I got to get to work. I got to open up in a minute. So sorry about that. I just went on a rant. I don't know why. Just kind of went where I went. Hope you guys have a great day. I didn't even talk about sharing videos or any of that other stuff. If you don't share my video, it doesn't get out there. And even if you share it, it probably doesn't get out there. Go over to Rumble. This will be loaded in about 15 minutes, maybe 20. It's a little longer. Go over to Telegraph. Check me out. Follow me there. As I said, all of my thoughts, all the things that make me say, I send over there. Whether I find it on Facebook or Twitter or just in the news, or if I find it on other pages I follow on Telegraph, that's where it goes. Telegraph's the one I've really been using here lately. So I'm on the other socials. I'm not even promoting them right now. Check me out. If you follow me on the YouTube, make sure you subscribe and share it from there. All right. I think my wife just walked in because I can hear myself on her phone. She must be watching me. You guys have a great day. I am going to jump off here and get to work. Make sure you share the video. And I appreciate everybody hanging around listening to me rant.